It did hurt my man Alvin Kamara.
It did.
Now, Alvin is still in my top 3 plays this week against that Broncos defense, but he saw 0 receptions for the first time in his entire career.
Yeah.
Yesterday, or excuse me, last week.
I mean, it was a whole different game plan. You
Yeah.
know, they were running they were having Taysom Hill run it instead. You know,
Yeah.
fake it to Alvin and take off.
Yeah, Chiefs, Bucks. Listen, you're playing all the notables there. Chicago Bears versus the Packers. You're playing all the fantasy there. It looks like Nick Foles is not going to go. It's probably going to be Gray. I don't like the Bears defense. I think they'll be on the field a lot against the Packers. Obviously, Rodgers, Jones, and Adams, you're playing. Bobby Tonyan, not so much. Seahawks, Eagles, you're playing all the big names. Russ, DK, Tyler, you're playing.
Sanders.
Yeah, Sanders will probably bounce back because I just traded his ass in one league.
I mean, it's Philly, or Seattle defense has been great next round. So.
Yeah, but a lot of exciting matchups. I can't wait for Sunday, but more importantly, I'm just excited to touch some breasts tomorrow. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Let's start our move in and move out segment. So why don't you go first, OG? Tell me who you got moving in. Who's moving into the OG Muntz household?
This weekend. So I'm going to start with the running back out of the New York Giants. Wayne Gallman is a must-play against Cincinnati. The Bengals have allowed 100 total yards in 4 of the last 5 games. Wayne Gallman's had 32 carries in the past 2 games, and he has scored a touchdown in 4 games, the last 4 games in a row. So they're going to run the football with him, and I expect him to have a good fantasy day.
I like it. Yeah, I agree. I think Wayne Gallman is an RB2 all day. So yeah, I definitely like it. Cincinnati's basically, listen, they'll let you crawl in, basically. So if you're in a wheelchair and you're playing Cincinnati, just wheel your way on into the end zone. I'm gonna start with a quarterback. So I am gonna start with one that I've already mentioned, Mr. Cameron Eric Cardinal Newton. So,
Eric Cardinal Newton.
Yeah. I'm his daddy, I'll tell you. But Cameron Newton, my man from Auburn, who I was excited about when he came out of the pros. Now that he's on my favorite team, I'm not a big fan. I just want to chop his hair. But listen,
how about his outfit last week?
Oh my god, where does it this guy's wardrobe?
The Price is Right yodeling, man. It was in full effect last week on the New England Patriots.
He is my least favorite Transformer. So I will say this, I think he's going to have a big week. He had 365 and a tutty against Houston. Seeing Russ light up Arizona the way that he did, I think Cam plays better and tougher versus tougher matchups. And Arizona's giving up the 8th most fantasy points to quarterbacks at 19.8 with 260 yards a game. So I like one Cameron Newton. So who do you have? Who's
All right,
your next?
so now my next one, I'm going to go with Evan Ingram, tight end for the Giants as well.
Oh,
the Bengals.
I got him.
You got to have him. Bengals have allowed the 4th most points to tight ends. Jason Garrett continues to try to get the ball in Evan Ingram's hands, whether it's on a motion quick handoff, or hitting him down, in the quick outs. He's a good red zone target. They don't use the middle seam enough because the last 4 Giants coaches, for some reason, decided to just let that go. Phil Simpson Bavaro was the last time that was bread and butter of the New York Giants. But other than that, I mean, he's a guy. He's double-digit points in 3 of the last 4 games. He's a tight end. I have him as my number 2 tight end total this week.
Yeah, so I'm not that generous. I do have him as my number 7 tight end. But I do think this against Cincinnati, there's no competition. I know people are out there big on Dallas Goedert this week. Here's what I got. Spoiler alert, Zach Ertz is probably going to play. So I don't like people that get...
And if not, Richard Rodgers gets a good target too.
Again, I'm all about volume, and Evan Ingram's going to have volume. On top of that, Cincinnati gives... they're 28th against tight ends this season. They're giving up 54 yards on average, and they're giving up 7 targets. That is a lot of volume to a tight end. I like Evan Ingram a lot. I think he's definitely a solid play. So I am gonna have. So I guess like maybe Evan Ingram can stay at my house on weekends.
Yeah.
So perfect. So let's move on. I'm gonna give a running back that you should move in, and it's one that they call a Mr. Jonathan Taylor. So he's had his most touches since week 2 at 22 for 90. Yeah, but he also had 4 grabs, which was really exciting to see. I know it was Hines versus the Titans in week 10. He had 12 for 70 with 2 overall tutties. But I like Taylor. I think he's going to get the bulk shares in Tennessee. And I say this, he's a RB2 play for me with 14 points.
See, I like Taylor too. One thing that worries me about him is the red zone work. He loses it all. I mean, so unless he breaks a big one, you're not going to get the +6 for the tutty.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right.
So,
give me another one.
I'm going to go with the QB here. I'm going to go Derek Carr versus the Falcons.
Derek Carr, pack
Derek
your bags.
Carr,
You're
pack your
moving
bags.
to Adams, baby.
Moving to
Let's
Adams
go.
with the Munson family, okay? Living in with the OG Munts.
Bring that
All
wife.
right? Atlanta's averaging 25-plus points a game to quarterbacks this season, fantasy-wise. I mean, that's just a shit ton of points. He's been very hot lately.
Yeah.
Freaking 3 touchdowns last weekend, over 300 yards. I think he continues that against the Falcons, who have continued to let that happen.
Yeah, I agree. Even though I have him ranked as my 15th top quarterback, I do think Derek Carr is a solid player that you can go out and probably get off waivers. Again, you already talked about it. He's got a lot of favorable matchups against Atlanta this week. Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. We kind of talked about it, but I mean, when you're banging a chick that looks like his wife, I mean, you should produce.
Oh, my God.
So good for Derek Carr.
Good
Derek
for
Carr,
him.
pack your bags. You're moving in with OG Munts.
Bring your wife with you.
Bring that wife. Bring that dick, baby. Bring that dick. So, all right, I'm going to move on. So, I'm going to add a one that, even with a concussion, I would still play him against Houston, Mr. DeAndre Swift. So, I have him as my top 5. He's a top 5 running back for me. He's going against the second worst team at that position. They're giving up 24.1 points, giving away 12 touchdowns just to running backs. And they're also allowing a generous 5 grabs to running backs with an average of 40 yards. He's a must play. I mean, he's a must play against Houston. That's all you need to know. If you don't play him and he goes and lights it up, I want you to call me and pitch me your logic, and then you're going to owe me. I'm going to have to be on your Christmas card list. So, who else you got?
I actually like Robbie Anderson versus the Vikings this week. Teddy Bridgewater's coming back. He's a dangerous deep ball threat. He leads the Panthers wideouts with 26.5% of the target share. That's not for no reason. He's getting plenty of targets, and the Vikings have allowed the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers. So, I mean, it's just a recipe for success for him.
Yeah, and he's wearing a good number 11. So, Robbie Anderson, nice hair, good name. I agree. So, I'm going to follow you on another Carolina wide receiver. So my man, Curtis Samuel, again, against Minnesota. They've given up 17 tutties to wide receivers this year. I think you'll see him even in the running game a little bit. With Teddy B back, I love him. His last 4 out of 5 games, the guy's only produced 17-plus fantasy points with three tutties. So Curtis Samuel, if you picked him up off waivers or you got him sitting on your bench, get him into your lineup. He is moving in.
I think you can make a case for all 3 Carolina.
Yeah, you really could.
You really could.
Yeah. I might suit up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to move fast, but man,
Dude, they'll never even want to cover you because that dude ain't making a move, and then boom, there you are.
Exactly, man. You give me a good book and a good bitch, and I'm straight.
All right, my next one. I'm going back to wide receiver again, and we talked about this a little earlier. I like Brandon Cooks this week. Stills is out, and so is Cobb. So, he's double-digit points in 5 of his last 6 games. Lions have allowed 40 fantasy points per game to wide receivers.
Damn.
Damn.
Christmas game early.
Yeah, he's healthy. You got him and Fuller. They're going to concentrate on Fuller, obviously. I expect Cooks to get a couple deep ones this time.
Yeah, nice. I like it. I am going to have move in with me, and I'm assuming he probably lives with his parents because he's a rookie, but I'm going to call him up and be like, hey, you know what? I got a spot for you, and that is one Mr. Michael Pittman Jr. So I've been high on Michael Pittman for the last couple of weeks. I've said he's a must play. I said he's a must roster. I still see him in leagues unrostered. I'm not sure what the hell we're doing, but anyways, Tennessee ranks 29th overall in defense to the X spot. So Pittman's roasted Tennessee in his first matchup. He had 7 catches, 101, 19.2 points. Solid flex play for me. In the last 2 games, all he's done is caught 10 balls for 167 and a tutty. So Michael Pittman all day long, solid flex play. I don't care what ESPN projects.
All right, my next one, I'm going back to a running back again. And before I made this list, I didn't see his injury tag. So, I mean, this is if he plays this week. I like him versus the Jets, and that's Salvon Ahmed. All right. I like him against the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's if he plays. They use him heavily in the pass game, and the last time the Miami and the Jets played, the Jets let up over 130 yards to the running back. I expect that to happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like it. I basically play anyone against the Jets.
That was my logic last week when we made the first show that didn't, we had a little electronic error.
Yeah. The Jets are like a doorknob. Everyone's going to get a turn. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
I agree with you there. I'm not going to talk about Evan Ingram. We kind of already talked about it. But my last one, as far as who can move into me, and I got to talk to my wife because I don't know if we have the space, but that's the entire Giants defense.
Yep.
So against Cincinnati, they're playing Ryan Finley. I already talked about where the guy ranked last year in 2019. The guy doesn't throw a nice ball. He completed only 41% of his passes in 2019. He's averaging a low 5.4 yards per attempt. He had 6 turnovers and 3 starts. Giants defense are going to not only exploit this guy, they're going to put him on skates. This guy's going to look horrible. He's going to look like he probably couldn't even play high school quarterback.
All right, I'm going to stay with you and wonder how I'm going to have the room as well. I got the Saints defense this week against the Broncos. Drew Lock's back. The Saints defense has scored 46 points, 46 fantasy football points over the last 3 weeks. Damn. I mean, that's a good outing for a defense. You hope to get your 10 back that you start with.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Or if you're in some leagues, we only start with 5. Not sure what that's about.
Yeah. Anyways, defense has averaged second most fantasy points against Denver. So Saints all day against Denver's low scoring offense.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are some. So listen, you heard it here first. Okay, those are some names. Get your asses out there. Hit that waiver wire. If you got these players on your bench, we're saying get them into your lineups. Be sure to check us out. Be sure to check out our projections on our website. Let's start with a little moving out segment. So these are people that have lived with me that I'm currently like, you know what, you're just not cutting it. You don't do the dishes. He's not cleaning them after himself. And that's right. I'm talking about one named Lamarius Jackson. So Lamarius, killing me. He's only had 4. He had 4 turnovers against the Steelers last time they played. He's only had 4 times where he's thrown over 200 yards. You drafted him. You thought, there would be a decrease, but I don't think anyone was expecting this big of a decline with him. And now he's going up against Pittsburgh again. So I'm not for Lamar Jackson this week. Lamar, sorry, you got to move out.
All right, my first move out, I'm going to go with the quarterback as well. I don't think Carson Wentz is a play this week. I know Seattle.
Carson Wentz is a roster spot.
I don't think he's a roster spot at this point. He should have been benched. I think it's Jalen Hurts' time to see what they have in that rookie.
Oh my God.
But listen, I mean, he's thrown 14 interceptions. He's continued to put that team in a bad position. His numbers continue to drop week to week. It's not a good play. I know Seattle's enticing, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, Seattle defense is allowing." I don't care. Carson Wentz has made all the bad defenses he's
got more faders than Kobe.
Yeah, exactly. So keep him out of your lineup.
Yes. You know what's frustrating as a Miles Sanders fan and owner in fantasy is watching Carson Wentz not be able to throw 3 freaking yards to hit Sanders in the chest.
Yeah.
Every time he throws, that ball is down at the kneecaps. How the hell does? And then he fades away to throw the ball deep down the field. He's holding on to the ball way too long. Yeah, Carson Wentz. If you're even rostering Carson Wentz, shoot me a message and explain why. There's got to be someone else that's better out there for you. Jesus. All right. I talked a little bit about him earlier. I'll just recap real quick. My man, who's been a great flex play for me this season, J.D. McKissick. Listen, Cowboys only giving up 3.4 catches to running backs, 0 reception touchdowns. It's going to be Antonio Brown all day long. So not much more to explain about that. If you're a J.D. McKissick owner, he's just not going to get you catches this week.
All right, move out. I know fantasy owners have been loving T. Higgins lately. He's been putting up some decent numbers. But guess what? I mean, you lost Joe Burrow.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you lost Joe Burrow. I'm sorry. He is not going to continue that this week. I know the Giants, they seem as a favorable matchup for him, but it's not going to be good. So I don't see him producing like he has been, I think he has a shutdown day.
Yeah, so he's been someone that I actually talked about a little bit yesterday too. I think this with any Bengals player, especially this week, I think you wait and see. I think you try to play pretty much any other option. I'd play Pittman over any Bengal wide receiver this week
Of course.
all day long. Wait and see what the Bengals can do, because I'm telling